Mistake number 1, forgetting to smile. So I kind of want to talk a little bit more about this concept of smiling because it is a struggle for many performers in general, but I don't want to just say, oh, you have to smile, right? Because it honestly depends on what you're performing and the theme that you're performing and what your director wants to create on stage. So for instance, if you guys are going to be performing a more sad piece, it wouldn't make sense to smile unless your character is the psychopath in the storytelling per se, right? So I don't want to just say, smile, but I want to say facial expressions, because if you're performing a scene that's supposed to be intense, that's supposed to be angry, your facial expressions have to demonstrate that. Especially, it has to be exaggerated, especially for an audience that's going to be a little bit further back, so they need to be able to see that within your performance compared to a dance that's a little bit more upbeat and happy and cheerful. Then yes, you're going to want to smile, but I don't want to just say smiling. I'm going to just categorize it as facial expressions. So make sure, depending on the theme that you're performing, that your facial expressions are demonstrating that, so it adds on to your performance. So instead of doing a good performance, you're doing a great performance. Not doing your gritos. So in Folklorico, gritos are such a big component of the dance genre, and if you're not doing it, well, you're not experiencing, so you and the audience are not experiencing the full experience of this genre, because gritos are just as important as the faldeo, just as important as the zapateado, and the gritos really are an identity for this genre, and we're kind of taking that away when we forget to do that. So make sure you're doing your gritos, make sure that they go a little bit more towards the region, because there are different types of gritos. I do have a video explaining how to do a grito, so I will put that in the description box, probably be at the end credits as well, to help you out, because it is a very important factor that we as performers, especially in this genre, need to be doing, so that our good performance can become a great performance. The next mistake is forgetting about your posture. So in general, in dance in general, having a good posture not only makes it more aesthetically pleasing, but it does help you perform better. So if we're slouching, except if you're doing los viejitos, that's a whole different thing, but majority of the dances tend to be, you have a more uplift posture, you're standing up straight, and just, it's not always going to be straight. So like regions such as Yucatan, you're going to want to obviously stand up straight, especially if you're going to be dancing with like the beer bottles or the whole charola on your head with the beer bottle and the cups. You obviously want to have a straight posture for that. But if you're doing different regions where the posture is slightly different, so it's not necessarily just straight, but you also have to present that elegance, you're going to need a good posture. So kind of keep in mind the type of region, the type of dance that you're doing, but posture really helps you execute that, and also brings out that character, that story that you are demonstrating through dance. So the last 3 mistakes that I see people forgetting to do leads up to this one important, I would say the most important aspect from taking a good performance into a great performance, that I'm not seeing a lot of groups or dancers do. And instead what I'm seeing is that they're forgetting to create a persona. They're forgetting to get into character. And once you have that mindset of, I am a persona, I am an image of a certain person, from a certain setting, from a certain time period, then that's when you're taking your good performance to a great performance, because now you're not just dancing, you're creating emotions through dance. And that's what this artistry in general is to make people feel something, you know, like you want your audience to feel what you are feeling. And if you are supposed to be the most elegant woman on the land, you have to create that persona, that spitting image from your performance. And it takes quite some work because it's an abstract concept of how do I present that to the dance. But that's something we need to keep in mind and considered when we're performing. We're not just doing some fadeo, just zapateado. No, we're creating a story. And what are the components of a story? A theme, the characters. We are the characters of this whole performance, and we need to show the audience without saying anything, with just solely our movement, who we are supposed to be representing. And again, that's what makes the difference from a good performance to a great performance. This next mistake is not necessarily for on the stage type of performance. This is something before you even get on the stage, and it's the lack of organization. And this goes both ends, from the instructor as to the dancer, but I'm just going to focus on the dancer for this example. If life gets easier the more organized you are, because then you don't have to worry about forgetting something, so you're decreasing your chances of forgetting something. You're making it easier on yourself, so you're eliminating stress, unnecessary stress, because you're already going to be nervous, you're already going to be freaked out, you're going to be thinking, oh, my cue, my number, whatever, right? So you want to get rid of as much stress, unnecessary stress, as much unnecessary chaos is what I'm trying to say here. And by being organized, you eliminate that. You make it 10 times easier for costume changes, or for, you know, just being prepared. And I see that this is something that's not being talked about, like how to be organized, how to go about with that. So for an upcoming video, I am gonna go more in depth of how I organize my things, in hopes that it helps you out in any way. All right, this last one took me the longest to correct and fix, and this has been a recurring lesson, and I finally learned that lesson recently. Oh, embarrassing. But I had to figure out a lot of things on my own, especially for dance, because I didn't really have older sibling or relatives to really help me out. And so throughout the years, I learned about this. So the last mistake is something that I struggled with the most, and I finally fixed it. After all these years of dancing, I finally fixed this mistake because an incident happened, but it's not being prepared. And by that is not having extras, so whether that's like extra tights, extra earrings, not bringing snacks or water or first aid kit, just like the other background stuff like a sewing kit and all these things. Even if you don't forget, someone is bound to forget something, and we don't want the whole stressful environment. So whether if it's not you having the extras, there should be at least a designated person that is in charge of bringing extras to every performance, every event, in order to avoid that type of scenario. So it goes back to not being organized. But I'm just mentioning it right now in case someone else is in the same shoes that I was. But now I am being more responsible in that aspect by making sure I just have extra earrings, extra tights, just extra everything now, because you just never know. And when you perform, you just want to focus and have a good time of showing all your months, sweat, tears, all the time and effort that you put into the performance, and you want to make it as smooth as possible. So make sure that you're prepared pack your water, pack your snacks, pack those extras, pack the first aid kit, overpack if you have to a bit, but you just want to avoid the most stressful environment. So this is the first video of a new video series that I'm doing called Performance Tips for Beginners. Tune in next week where I will be covering Performance Etiquette 101. So those are all the performance mistakes I have seen throughout the years. Let me know if you made any of these, if you have any mistakes that we should be aware about down in the comments below. I really hope this information helps you out. And with all that being said, I really hope that you keep dancing. Good luck on your journey, and I'll see you next time. Adios!